There seems to be a strange belief that the promised tariffs that are coming from imported goods into the US somehow won't affect ammo, that somehow that won't affect the price of ammo. But I want to take a close look on why it definitely will affect ammo. It doesn't even matter if it's ammo made in the United States. The price of ammo is going to go up significantly when these tariffs are put in place. And here's why. Well, let's start with domestic ammo, because this is the one that I think a lot of people would say, well, I just won't buy imported ammo. I'll buy domestic ammo. Well, let's see how they make domestic ammo, because domestic ammo companies rely on the raw material from other countries. They import the raw material. So, for example, lead. Lead is a basic ingredient in bullets. And before we get into the lead, let's say that the tariffs that have been promised is 20% on pretty much everything imported into the US. 60% if it comes from China. So let's just start with that. Lead. Most of the lead, I would argue all of the lead, except for recycled lead, because we don't really mine lead in the US. So obviously there's recycled lead around, but the vast majority of the lead that goes in the bullets is imported from Canada and Switzerland. So 20% on your lead. Brass. If you're not going to refine the brass yourself, you're just going to import the brass. What you're looking at is brass comes from Brazil, India, Israel, Mexico, South Africa, and South Korea. 20%. Copper. Chile, Canada, Mexico, Peru, and a vast majority of it comes from China. So 60% on your copper. Steel, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, South Korea, Japan, Russia, and Germany. So any of the raw material that your domestic ammo manufacturers are going to use is going to be bumped up 20%. And that's going to go to you. That's going to go to the price of the ammo itself. So I think that I just kind of want to eliminate this belief that if these tariffs are put on raw material like promised, domestic bullets are going up at least 20%. And I want to add that something I've really learned about Americans just traveling around the world a little bit is that we pay more for everything. Something that costs $20 in the US probably costs like $3 somewhere like Spain. It's just how it is. And the reason that we pay so much is because we're willing to pay so much. So that's the reason. I could fly all over Europe for like $60 round trip, but if I want to fly from Kansas City to Denver, it's like $600. And they charge us that much because we're willing to pay it. That's the American way. And that's why they charge as much as they do. So they know that we're going to pay it, first of all. And why do they know that? Because we will pay it. That's what'll happen. They'll bump it up 20% and we'll just pay it, is how it'll play out. So domestic ammo, I believe, is going to go up at least 20% once these tariffs are put in place. Now let's talk about imported ammo, because ultimately what you have with imported ammo is you have Cellular and Bellet, you got RWS, you got Fiocchi, you got Agia, all being imported 20%. And I also want to remind you that the Czech group is in the process of buying Vista Outdoors, and they're going to put that cost, even though they'll be making the bullets here, they're going to put that cost from importing all their Czech-made bullets. They're going to put it on all their bullets across the board, and you have to know that that's how it's going to play out. So I believe that ammo is going to go up at least 20%, and it's probably going to be more because companies like the Czech group they're dealing with importing raw material and they're dealing with importing bullets. So, it's going to go up. Vista Outdoors ammo is going to go up a lot if the Czech group ends up buying them. And everybody else is too, because they have to pay for the raw material and it's all going to come downhill. So I don't believe that we're sitting in a situation where somehow, because the next president is pro-Second Amendment, that bullets aren't going to go up in price. They're going to go up in price. You got to know that these tariffs are going to be on raw materials like lead, brass, copper, all that stuff, steel, all that stuff is going to be at least 20% is what he said. And then we can only assume he will do what he said. And then that's going to make its way to your ammo, because what's ammo made with? Well, it's things like lead, copper, brass, steel, those sort of things. And that raw material is all imported. Like, there's very, very little of that is domestically mined and refined. Like, you got to know that. That most of that raw material is imported. It's been the American way since World War II. We import our raw material so we don't use our own raw material. And it's wise to do that, but once you put 20% to 60% on that, because again, that copper, most of our copper comes from China, 60%, boom, boom, 60% of that copper, man, that's going up. And all that really means is people are going to be stealing more copper around the U.S., jacking people's air conditioners and stuff. So, I think it's important that you just set your expectations in the place that they should be. That ammo is going to go up 20%, I predict, by May, if the tariffs play out the way that he says they will. And you have to just assume that he's going to do what he says he's going to do, and that those tariffs will probably play out day one. We shall see. Actually, this video is filmed on the 15th of January, so we're still waiting to see how this plays out. But I believe 20% across the board, mostly because of the raw material and because the largest domestic ammo manufacturer, Vista Outdoors, is about to be owned by the Czech group, and I just don't think that that's gonna hurt them in any way, shape, or form. They're just gonna bump up the ammo, and what do Americans do when things get more expensive? We just simply pay for it, because that's what we've always done. So there you go, man. Any thoughts or insight on this? Definitely put it below. I do want to take a moment and say, most watch this channel, hey, they're not subscribers. Click that subscribe button. It greatly increases the algorithm. It's free. That link is below. But most important part of this channel, we take prayer requests. So please don't ever, ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.